The Philadelphia Eagles suffered an embarrassing blowout loss to their division rivals, the New York Giants, at MetLife Stadium last Thursday night, 34-17. After being shut out offensively in the second half, what leadership changes need to be made to get the Eagles back on track, as they've now lost 2 straight games? Have the New York Giants finally found their franchise quarterback in Jackson? I'm all about that action, Dart.
I'll take this because this is gonna be quick for me. Number one, I like Jackson Dart. I like what I've seen from him. I like the swagger. I mean, it is very much so like it's very offensive, but I like the swagger. So that's cool.
It's Jack Harlow on the
It is. It is
with a
really.
pig skin.
It's very
It's Jack
offensive.
Harlow
It's
with a pig
offensive.
skin.
It's very Ian. It's like very Ian-ish. Like I don't know, bro. Like it's a little weird.
Tommy
But,
Richmond on with
it's very
a helmet.
Tommy.
Yes.
Yeah, like you know what I'm saying. Like all right, bro. You're doing way too much with MGK shit. But it's like all right, that's cool. But I like his play. I like what Daboll's doing. And once again, this is the nature of the NFL now, where some guys, when they pick it up quick, you can take the league by storm in 1 year. And Jaden Daniels shows you that. Like if you pick up offense nicely and guys, you don't really know your tendencies and you got some grit to you and you got a little bit of wiggle to your game, like Jaden Daniels did last year before the knee. Jackson Dart just got that. Like, and I like the swagger and I like what he's doing. So I'm not a hater at all. Like, I like seeing NFC East quarterbacks actually look good. I hate when people call us the NFC least. So every quarterback right now is playing really good, except for my own. And I think that that's because, to answer the second question, it is a leadership thing, and I am tired of watching the coping that is happening right now within this fan base, where every time one of the top tier QBs has a bad game or whatever, we immediately be like, oh, but if Jalen did that, then y'all will be on. I don't want to hear that shit. That's loser shit, because the Eagles are essentially like a kid that has all the answers to the test, and we getting the same grades as the kids that eat Chinese food in the fucking trailers. And I'm not hearing any of that. Like, I don't care that Josh Allen threw 2 picks, or I don't care if Patrick Mahomes has a bad game. We know what our standard is, and we have a dynasty window that after last season, if you were a fan of the Eagles, everybody was like, "Oh, this is the start of the window. This is the window." And now that we're seeing Kevin Patullo just be a complete inept play caller, and Nick Sirianni being exposed once again in a down year as being nothing more than just a used car salesman. Now really just not even like just a cheerleader that has nothing to say to the actual team of value. You're losing guys like AJ, you're losing guys like Devontae. Saquon Barkley goes from being one of the greatest rushers you've ever seen to doing nothing. The offensive line looks terrible, and Jalen Hurts looks very pedestrian. And that's why it's just like this has to be a leadership issue. And what I would like to see if I ran the Eagles, I'd probably get a couple offensive consultants in there with Patullo to basically be his babysitters of like, yo, don't call that. Call this how you should script the first 14 plays of the game. Here's how you should when offense starts getting stagnant. Here's the run plays that you should do. Blah blah blah. And that's where I would probably leave it at, because anything else outside of that to me is just not the answer. It starts with the offense coordinator, and I don't think that Lurie and them are going to fire Sirianni this year. But this is very crucial, because if we end up going 4-3 after losing to Carson Wentz, bro, to me the season's done. Like I don't see it getting much better. If the defense continues to get hurt the way it is every week, we're losing guys and guys are getting hurt and whatnot because we're putting the defense on the field all the time because the offense can't generate anything. This is a real danger zone for me. So very big game coming up this week. You want to be able to blow the Vikings out because you got the Carson Wentz. You should be able to get home. But pass rush ain't been there. Cornerback play besides Quinyon Mitchell has been absolutely abysmal. And it just looks really bad, bro.
Welcome back, Q.
I
This is
was
the
gonna-
Eagles fan I know. This is the Eagles fan
Q,
I've
you
known
know.
all these
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
Bro,
Yeah.
all I'm saying is Nick just spent 10 minutes talking about Ben Johnson. I give 2 minutes on the Eagles and I'm going too long.
You
I'm
said it
just
was
talking
gonna
about
be
your
quick.
misery.
Yeah, you said it was gonna be quick.
Yeah.
That's 30
That is
seconds or
quick.
less.
Yeah.
That's 30 seconds or less,
Hey,
nigga.
2
Ain't
minutes.
nobody. Nah.
Hey,
You
Q.
better,
2 minutes.
hey, Sheldon, before you go into the thing, should I start Jalen Hurts this week against the Vikings?
Fuck
Yes.
Answer me.
Yes,
Fuck
Nick.
no.
Go,
Don't.
go
Yes,
ahead.
Nick.
Go ahead. Say what you
No.
Yes,
Nick,
Nick.
no.
And I'll tell you why yes in a minute. But to answer your question, Q, I don't think that he needs help scripting the first 14. It's what they need. The adjustments at halftime is what they need him. If you notice the first half of most games, those first 14 plays, they normally are scripted pretty good. It's normally after half is when you see the change in what he's doing in the offense. But yeah, my thoughts on it are similar to him. There's two areas that need the most change, though, if you ask me, and that is, of course, the offensive coordinator, like I said, getting him some help. And on defense, we need a pass rush. That's the biggest difference in the Eagles this year and any other year is there's no pass rush whatsoever. And as far as our defensive ends right now, we have one sack on the defensive ends that are on the roster today, which is crazy because we had about 30 at this time last year. So you get no pressure from your defensive front, which puts more pressure on your back line, which needs some help in itself. But with no pressure on the quarterback, we're not making the plays. And to answer the question about Jackson Dart, don't be fooled. It's the same dude that had 5 turnovers last week against the Saints, but they got more pressure than the Eagles did, which you saw a different ball game. So don't be fooled. I'm not saying he's not going to be decent, but no, he ain't that yet. So I think there's a lot to be desired from that. But yeah, the Eagles gotta figure it out. And if Jalen Hurts is the leader that I say he is, he has to lead that charge. So I'm looking at him to make some moves.
What you got to
and
say,
make something happen.
Ken? What you got to say, Ken?
Shelton, do you see flashes in Dart at all?
I do. I like
Okay.
Dart. Don't get me wrong. You remember I liked him initially. Dart was one of my guys as far as because I bet on him a lot. That's why I'm saying he's one of my guys. That's what I mean. So I when he was in college, he was hitting for me a good little bit. And I saw him play, and I really liked this game. But at the same time, he's nowhere near. You take, like we talk about Jaden Daniels. He's not Jaden Daniels last year at this level now. He's not that whatsoever. So he's still got a lot of work to do to get there.
And I agree with Sheldon on that assessment. However, he's clearly the best quarterback for the Giants of the last 4 or 5 years. You know, even I'm including that Daniel Jones playoff run where he only threw 15 touchdowns. But for
How can
me,
you say that though, Nick, when you seen him throw those interceptions against the Saints?
well, I mean, he's a rookie.
He got his head beat in the Saints game.
He's a rookie, and some of those turnovers were not all just on him. Of course, towards the end, yes, there was a lot on him. But I mean, like there was a fumble. And
He can say that because his name's not Caleb Williams.
No,
That's all it is.
All I'm saying,
He's
all
not
I'm
Caleb, Nick. Nick, he's not Caleb.
I'm not saying he is. All I'm saying is that I think Dark has shown a lot of potential, and I think I think he can be the future franchise quarterback of the Giants. My thing is more so going back to the Eagles. Sheldon, you was calling out Lamar Jackson and a few other motherfuckers last week.
I called out Jalen too.
I'm calling them out again because Ken, every year, last few years, we keep hearing everybody, as much chatter as we hear about from the Miami Dolphins about Tua and all that other shit, we hear the same thing about Jalen Hurts when it comes to these Eagles, bro. When AJ Brown comes out damn near all the time, every press conference talking about something, the passing game is cheeks. The passing game is cheeks. And then Sheldon come over here in our chat, Ken, and show us these stats talking about some Jalen Hurts, a great deep ball thrower. And then we look at that Giants game, and who was number 2? What's his name? Dotson, wide open for a touchdown, a gimme.
He went wide
overthrown.
Oh,
in the red zone.
Coverage.
In the red zone, he had AJ Brown on a slant, but he threw it to Dotson, which was the pick that helped. So to me, it's like there's that, and then there's the chatter in the locker room for a team that just won the Super Bowl, Lou. They just won the Super Bowl less than 12 months ago. And there's this chatter of not only confusion on the offense, but just disgruntledness in the offense. And I'm thinking, like, if Jalen Hurts is the leader that Shelton says he is, this shouldn't be happening.
That's what I said, Nick.
Especially if they are still have a winning record. They're not even under 500.
That's what I said, Nick. Nick, I said the same thing you just said.
No, you ain't saying it loud. You ain't saying it loud enough, like you said about Lamar Jackson when you came out last week. When you
I said the same way.
You questioned a 2-time MVP when he was hurt,
and now you question the Super Bowl MVP.
I'm questioning because his team questioned him. It ain't just me. It's the team.
But I'm looking at your 2-time MVP
and they lost
record.
And they lost the 2 bum ass quarterbacks compared to your comparison, right? They lost the Bo Nix and a rookie. And Ken, you know how I feel about when teams lose the rookie.
Didn't Lamar Jackson lose last year to the Raiders?
We ain't talking about Lamar Jackson. Stop.
No, I'm using it because that's what he uses. You can't. It's the NFL, Nick, and I told you that the night of. It can happen.
He did, but has Jalen Hurts ever won an MVP? Period.
What is that?
Has he done what now?
Has he ever won an MVP?
Yeah.
So I think
the reason why I bring that up is because when we're talking about the standard of quarterback, there's a reason why Jalen Hurts is not top 3 and he's barely making it.
He's been top 5. He was top 2 years ago.
No, he wasn't. He's not top. He's running up the back behind. I'm asking about top 3 right now, and Jalen Hurts is not in that conversation.
No, he's not top 3 right now.
He wasn't in the conversation last year either. So what I'm saying is that when we talk about not only play on the field, but leadership, because I don't know who's the leader on this team right now. Q, I'm looking at Harry Roseman to write the shit, because obviously Sirianni ain't shit, because last year when he fired all their coordinators and all that shit and hired his own guys, that showed me that Sirianni ain't shit. And this year, we're having the same conversation last year that AJ Brown and some others brought up as far as like the passing game ain't it. Right now, to me,
he didn't fire guys, he got promoted.
Right now, to me, if your quarterback, and Lou, I'll pass on to you. If your quarterback, if the worst thing about your quarterback is passing the ball, we have an issue. That's
not the worst thing, no, Nick. Nick, you
wait, Sheldon, you went. Let me real quick.
Let me answer Nick real quick though, Lou. Look, Nick, they got to run the routes, right? So if they're not running,
don't do that. Get passing them because you over here saying some bullshit. You over here saying some bullshit. You over here saying some bullshit. Go ahead, Lou.
The worst thing that could have happened to the Eagles, and I say this respectfully as a Cowboys fan, is they won the Super Bowl. Because now you got to keep Nick Sirianni, and that's the problem with this team. Y'all asking about leadership and these things. I will concede to the point that one of you guys made, Sheldon Q, that he's had 5 different offensive coordinators in however many years. Jalen Hurts isn't good enough to bear through that. And that ain't me throwing a diss at him. He can be a good quarterback. He can be whatever y'all want him to be, but he's not good enough to have a different OC every year. So now I got to come back this year because I won a Super Bowl. I fired the whole staff, like Nick said, if I'm Howie Roseman. And I got to come back with this dude who's essentially Deion Sanders of the NFL and don't do shit. I don't know what he does, what he specializes in. I don't know why he there. His press conferences are terrible. Nobody respects him. The team is falling apart under him, but we had to keep him here because he won a Super Bowl, and you never fired a Super Bowl winning head coach. So now the whole team is suffering from winning that Super Bowl and us having to keep this figurehead in place. So now we promote somebody to offensive coordinator who's not qualified. Mm-hmm. Now we have this quarterback out there who's not he's okay, but I mean he can do better, but he don't have the pieces in place to help him do better. So now what we're going to be talking about doing is having a season where they may underachieve, and we fired Nick Sirianni, and now you're talking about putting another OC in place. So what's that going to do to Jalen next year? So the problem all started when they won a Super Bowl and had to keep they had Coach Sirianni in place, and that's what they're suffering from now. Nobody gives a shit about anyone else in that locker room. You can tell how AJ Brown is talking. You can tell how Smith is acting. You can tell by the touches that Saquon is getting. You can tell from how Carter acts on the field. No one gives a shit about anyone else in that locker room, and everybody is conducting themselves as if, oh, we won a Super Bowl, man, we good. And that's what's wrong with the Eagles right now.
Yeah, and it looks very selfish. We can play the if game all day, but it's just essentially from what we've seen this year, the Eagles are not as deep. We are not as deep as we once were, and I'm not even trying to hear the whole. And like, this is not an excuse, but this is not the most talented roster in the NFL because we lost all that depth. when we had the depth of Makai back then, and we had Darius Slay, we had Isaiah Rodgers, we had Milton Williams, and all these guys that have left to sign big Josh Sweat, huge contracts, and are making impact everywhere else. Vic Fangio was just playing Madden out there, dude, subbing guys in and out, Nakobe Dean and, Oren Burks, guys who filled in the roles, just as a drop of a hat. Jeremiah Trotter Jr., just naming guys. And once we lost like 10 plus guys this offseason, the defense is not as stacked. The secondary is not as good. Quinion and DeJean are doing their thing. We let CJ go for some reason. So you get what I'm saying. So we're already dealing with that. And then number two, the base offense is Nick Sirianni's offense. No matter who the coordinator is, the base of the offense and the way that the routes are drawn up is Nick Sirianni. So I place probably like 80% of the blame there. And then the 20% of the blame, to me, goes on the offensive players and then in the skills positions guys. And I do it for Joe Burrow, so I do it now here with Jalen Hurts. I need you to call your own player meetings and shit. AJ has no self-awareness. He has absolutely no self-awareness, and he's very selfish. And I think that he's trying to get a second contract, and he wants to prove his numbers and all that stuff. And of course, but there is something to be said in the fact that it is just about having all these Ferraris and then treating this shit like it's a hoopty. So I'm disappointed with how the season is going. I'm not overreacting to like saying that like the season is done, but I'm saying that we're teetering into those waters where if we can't put together 4 quarters, if we can't put together 2 halves, every single game we're barely getting 17 points, then what hope am I supposed to have in the season moving forward as things get tough? Because shit ain't going to get easier. It's only going to get harder. So this is the time right now where you should be trying to rattle off 3-4 wins in a row. And if you can't accomplish that as the Eagles, and we look like we're just struggling through wins, then I think that's how the season is going to end too, to end like a struggle.
And that's the biggest point to it is for me, like I said, it's the adjustments. You're seeing them come out and they're looking great for a second, but there's always an adjustment period where it started looking shaky. We watched the Tampa game. They would stuff that they struggled on before. You could tell that they worked on and came out strong against Tampa. But once they went back to the zone, it was like they were confused. They didn't know what to do. No adjustments were made at halftime to counter adjust what Tampa did. And that's what you've seen in every game. That's why you've only seen a half of football every time. And for me, that's coaching.
To make those adjustments.
That's coaching. That's supposed to be on Patullo.
Who's supposed to be making those?
Patullo. He's the one that does that.
And y'all have clearly said as Eagles fan, y'all don't think he's qualified to do something.
No, he should have never. He got Patullo.
Okay, wait. And then you have a head coach who basically is just a figurehead, so he's not gonna make them.
Right.
And then you have a quarterback who they don't trust to make them. So where them adjustments coming from? Like that's the problem.
That's the problem. You're right, Lou. That's why he said bring in an advisor, which they talking about doing that. But you're talking about a guy that's been with this roster on this. He's been the passing game coordinator for 4 years. It is Sirianni's guy, and he's been there this whole time. So when they promoted him, a lot of players, Jalen even stepped up and said it. Like he ain't really qualified to do this. The players said it. So they're the ones. Everybody think they're infighting. It's not very much infighting. I think it's fighting the staff. That's what I think anyway. Which I'm not in the room. We'll see on Hard Knocks.
Well, my thing is, Shelton, what do I always say? One of the things I always say, I know I say a lot of things on this platform, Ken, when it comes to quarterbacks after they get paid.
They're held accountable.
So when I see Jalen Hurts overthrow a wide open ass receiver, and you're telling me this is on the offensive. Hold on. Let me talk. Ken, they were telling me all summer long when we was making our list, this nigga not only top 10, he top 5. He better than Burrow, arguably, if not overall. And I'm saying we look at the tape.
Yes,
we have eyes.
Yes. Did you with those eyes?
So when I hear certain things, it's one thing to say the scheme and not using Saquon. I get that. We can blame that on the OC, the current OC. It's another thing when I look at in game and I see Jalen Hurts missing a wide open AJ Brown making a slant in the red zone, and he's throwing it to just Deshaun Doc, whatever the fuck that nigga name is, number 2, and it's a pick six. So my thing is this: as much as we are talking about the head coach and all that, we also are talking about someone who's getting paid over $200 million to play a position.
Bro, we knew
Nick,
this.
tell me your number. Nick, let's do this,
like
Nick.
We knew this.
Let me do this with you though, Nick. Who's the number 1 quarterback in the league to you right now?
Patty Mahomes.
Is it still Patrick Mahomes?
He's still Patrick.
Because I saw Patrick Mahomes throw like 3 or 4 balls over players' heads this year. I saw him Sunday do it.
That's a horrible.
And I saw him do it.
I
again.
mean, are you comparing Patrick Mahomes to Jalen Hurts?
I'm comparing all of them.
We're only talking about the Eagles, Sheldon. So I don't want to hear about all of them. I'm talking about, are you comparing Patrick Mahomes to Jalen Hurts? Because if we can do that, I will shut up and end this conversation right now.
We honestly can, because if you look at Patrick Mahomes, ask him which quarterback does he fear playing the most. It would be Jalen Hurts.
Can we move on?
Quarterback?
Wait,
no. Hold.
Got a body of work that you can't question.
Hold on, Lou.
Jalen Hurts got a couple of good games that you're holding in high precedent.
Hold on, Lou. Now, the main thing that Nick built Burrow's hype off of was beating Mahomes. Is that not correct? Wasn't that what Nick stood on all this time? His mountain was beating Mahomes. Oh, he beat Mahomes 3 times. He's the only one to do it. That's how Nick talked about Burrow all this time. That's what he's ridden that wave of, is beating Patrick Mahomes. So what has Jalen Hurts done the last 3 times he played Patrick Mahomes?
Because he's
beaten
super team.
And he's outplayed him twice, right? So if you can stand on that for Burrow, why can't I stand on that for Jalen?
So Sheldon, real quick, to answer your question, my thing with Joe Burrow is that he's done something in the AFC that no other quarterback has done, is beating Mahomes.
And Jalen Hurts,
and hold on, let me talk because you asked the question. My thing with Jalen Hurts, when you're talking about in comparison to Patrick Mahomes, if you're talking about quarterback wise, and you're saying that Jalen Hurts is in the same stratosphere as Patrick Mahomes, we can end this conversation right now.
What I'm saying
for damn sure that's not true, and there's no way in hell that you would, as a big man, you would put him over there.
It doesn't even have to be. Sheldon, it doesn't even have to be like a Mahomes combo, because we can talk about Josh Allen, talk about Lamar Jackson. This year they've overthrown receivers. So if we're talking about just a blanket like observation of, has there ever been a situation where a top 5 QB is overthrown receivers? Yeah, that happens every season. It really does though, Nick. Like, you know, Jay
back-to-back games.
When did he overthrow somebody last game?
He threw him over in the Broncos game. What are you talking about?
Yes, he did. He overthrew AJ when AJ
slowed up. And y'all told me that AJ Brown stopped running.
He did. We know Jalen Hurts not like that.
It's okay.
It's
okay. But here's
like, bro, I just hate the way we talk about Jalen Hurts, because it don't like. I just don't.
He deserves it.
Good. Then I think we just need to end it there, because
let me end it real quick though, Ken.
All I know is I did put in a stat from Sharp Football. It's actually pretty good.
Say the stat
about
Ken.
the percentage. I was trying to look for it, but it's like 38% or something like that. It wasn't good.
Percentage. But listen, here's the thing. The last thing I'm gonna say about it though, Nick. It's a difference when you can say all these bad things and still be in first place in your division, as opposed to not making the playoffs like some of these other quarterbacks that you big up. That's all I got.
All I know is I think it's much ado about nothing. I think it's just a blip in the road. I think it's just football. The Bills have just lost 2 in a row, right?
Yep.
I don't know if anybody pushing the panic button on them, but they didn't win the Super Bowl. So I think the standards are different, because they're the Super Bowl champs who people had expectations on repeating based on the roster they had assembled. So I think the Eagles will be, of course, graded harshly, or more harsh than the Bills, who has Super Bowl aspirations. They just want to get there.
my thing, Ken, is like, it's about accountability, bro. Like that's all I'm trying to do. Is like we when we talk about these top 10, when we make our list, these are the quarterbacks more than likely that have already gotten paid. And my rule is, me specifically, is that once you get paid, there's no excuses. I hold the same standard to Joe Burrow when he was fucking up last year in some games. And I'm holding the same standard with Jalen Hurts when he's fucking up. Like, the Broncos and the Giants on the Eagles schedule should have been wins, penciled in wins, especially the Giants. because they've been beating them up. Sheldon, what's they rate? They've been beating them up the last few years, right?
Well, the Giants were terrible.
So then,
But-
and against the rookie at that. So when I hear Shelton goofy ass talking about some this, that, and the third, and we're not talking about Jalen Hurts, nah, I'm not doing it.
Well, either way, I know that two observations. Nick, when Jalen Hurts drop back to pass, sometimes be out there looking like nobody get to like Jamil, because as soon as he hiked the ball, he start running towards the sideline. And sometimes he'll stand in the pocket. As soon as he hike, he take it off. They're gonna put QB contain on him or something like that. And the second thing is, the best linebacker in football got abused by Scott.
Hey, Ken. I've heard of a bugaboo. I ain't heard about a scatterboo. You know what I'm saying?
Well, ask that bar. He know all about it.
He know all about it.
And Halloween too. He don't
Let me talk about Zach Bond.
he don't
I
want to
draw
hear
the
about
line
any
at
damn
Zach
boots.
Boy, Zach
I draw the
Bond
line
been
at Zach Bond. Zach
Zach
Bond,
Bond been
man.
getting cooked.
He can't wait till Halloween's over with, bro.
He ain't been getting good. He got cooked one time. Don't do that.
He getting
man.
cooked.
Ah.
One game, man. You get cooked by a rookie. You get cooked by two rookies, Sheldon. I don't know.
One game, Nick. He's trying to do too much. That's all.
Yeah. So anyway, up next we need to talk, but we'll get to that right after this quick break.